Okay. Okay, guys. So today we're going to cover these two subtopic. The first one is what is engineering problem solving. I do believe most of you already done with that. And the second part is more on the basic Matlab exercises. Here we have, I just put 5 exercises now. So after this, I will put another one, not another one, another 5 together with your group assignment. So we have a plotting, we have solving the ODE, solving the linear system, polynomial, elementary statistic. Okay, by the way, your first assignment will be on the statistic, where you will analyze a big data, the real big data from the industry, from the palm oil industry. Then I would like you to apply your statistic, the simple statistic fundamental to analyze the data. Okay, that's going to be your first team assignment. Okay, the real one, not the, what they call it, Mickey Mouse problem. This is the real one. All right, so what is engineering problem solving? There is 3 topics, subtopic that we will cover today. One is about the introduction of that engineering problem solving itself, and then the step required in solving engineering problem, and some definition of the process variable, including the units. For your information, in solving engineering problem, variables is very important together with its unit. All right, so we'll do that later. So first we go for this introduction to engineering problem solving. So once you have a problem, you require to have a solution. What basically engineering problem solving? Usually in class, practically in class, when we're talking about solve a problem, the problem basically are created, formulated, purposely to cover or to satisfy your learning outcome, or purposely designed and formulated to assess you, to assess your understanding, to assess your mastery skill, to assess your capability in, for example, in our case, doing some simple programming in order to obtain the solution for that problem. Okay, purposely. So it can be ambiguous. It can be directed or it can be structured. But the most important thing when we are talking about engineering problem, the problem itself should be consist of some of the mathematical and also computational analysis. And it can be up to several degree of difficulties. It can be just, as I mentioned before, it's just a Mickey Mouse problem, for example, the problem that we created purposely, or it can be the most challenging one, which is directly come from the industry. And in order for you to solve this kind of problem, several steps need to be done. Okay? For example, you may have several steps required that we're going to look at it after this. And some of it perhaps may require for you to do some modeling, mathematical modeling, representing your design problem. And once you have that kind of problem formulation, then you can have a mathematical model in order for you to solve it. Then you need to make sure that the degree of freedom is 0, which is the number of equation is equal to number of variable required or unknown variable that you need to justify the value. So make sure it's zero. The degree of freedom, we will look. You basically will find out what's basically the degree of freedom. Why that you need to do the degree of freedom analysis in order for you to solve the engineering problem. Okay, where is it? Mana sudah dia? So there is several definition here, or there is also several italic words that basically you need to define it. I do believe some of you already define it. Thank you very much. So it is easy for us to do it by yourself first, and then after that we discuss it, and then after that you may find out either that have the right definition or something is that you need to do some revision. All right, so this we call it Googling activity. Google is everything. You can find everything in Google. So in this session, I would like you to use a lot of Googling activity in order for you to help you in finding the hint, finding the solution for you. Not finding the solution, you're the one who find the solution, but help you in gathering information related to your problem. Okay, so the first exercise or activity that we're going to look today is this. Kita tengok berapa ramai yang sudah jawab. Rasanya belum ada lagi yang belum lagi ni. Okay. Okay, by the way, I think some of you already obtained the badges. Or not the badges, one badge which is, I think is a peer choice ataupun those who already received more than 30 likes from your friend. Cek lah, siapa yang belum tu, try lah like your friend supaya the rest also obtain that badge. Right. So let's look at some of your definition here. The meaning of the italic words above based on my finding on Google are computer code refers to the set of instructions which written in a particular programming language. All right. Algorithm, which is a set of instructions for solving the problem. OOPS ataupun object-oriented programming, a programming paradigm based on the concept of objects, which can contain data and also the coding. Objects, a data field that has unique attributes and behavior. Sub-algorithm, an algorithmic module which complete in itself and has independent existence. Subroutine, a set of instructions designed to perform a frequently used operation within a program. Okay, so I'll put one like there. So you have 6 like. Ada siapa mau tanya? Dengar bunyi itu? Okay. Let's look at the Laura. Response of the Laura. A sequence, we could package, sub-algorithm or block of instruction is executed when it's called from some other point of the algorithm. Algorithm or formula or procedure for solving problem. All right. Since this is an open-ended question activity, so the objective of this open-ended is not to find the right answer for this. It's just that to know that the capability of you to finding the solution from the Google. Okay, let's look at this Rosmawati. Okay, 4 hari lepas dia yang jawab ni. Bagus. Computer code is a symbolic arrangement of data or instruction in a computer program or set the set of such instruction or set the set of such instruction. Okay. An algorithm, on the other hand, is a set of instructions for solving problem or accomplish a task. Object-oriented program is a computer programming model that organizes software design around data or object rather than function and logic. Okay. A sub-algorithm is just an algorithm that is used as a part of another algorithm, and a subroutine is a sequence of program instructions that perform a specific task package as a unit. All right. Thank you. So let's look at the first is computer code. So what you're going to do after this, once you are given problem, engineering problem, more specific is chemical engineering problem. So what you need to do is basically you need to translate that problem into a computer code. Oh, mana buat tu? How to do that? So we will learn step by step in this class. So of course, the problem will be given in a words, in a story, in something like a narrative way. Sometimes saya akan buat like a conversation in Telegram, for example, or a very short video or movie talking, mentioning about the problem, for example. So what you're going to do is you need to translate it into something that belum lagi tukar kepada computer code, something that you can and your friend may understand it. Okay, problem analysis will start with analyzing the problem. Tukarkan the problem into a simple word or summarize it. Once you have do that analysis, nanti kita akan tengok there is some information related what we call it, procedure to do that. For example, you will develop a table which we call it K&L table. K stands for what you know about the problem. Okay, K&L, we will look at in much detail, tapi kita akan belajar dia serentak. Bila kita solve problem, nanti kita akan guna this K&L table. So K stands for what you know about the problem, what you know about chemical engineering problem. Okay, whatever you know about the problem given, bukan those yang you cari daripada internet. Okay, if I give you one video about the problem, then you need to extract what you know about the problem based on the video given. Okay, that's why we call it what you know. It's only from the information given to you. Jangan ambil daripada yang lain. Okay, that's one. Second is N. The K, and what you need to know. Tadi what you know. That's why you call it K. And what you need to know. From what you know, you need to find what you need to know more in order for you to understand the problem. This one, you need to use more Googling activity. You know that now is musim tengkujuh. And di Penampang, you know that kalau musim tengkujuh saja di Penampang akan banjir. Dan bila banjir, banyak harta benda akan rosak. Okay, that is you know. That is the K. So what you need to know? What you need to know about musim tengkujuh? Relate dengan your first statement tadi. What you need to know about the second statement, which is Penampang always banjir kalau hujan. What you need to know about the third statement, yang bila hujan saja harta benda akan rosak. So for example, what you need to know about the third statement, harta benda jenis apa yang rosak? That's what you need to know. Once you ask that question, what you need to know about harta benda di penampang apa yang rosak, then you need to do some survey ataupun you need to find some information. So one thing to do, one method to help you is by Googling. Okay. So what you need to know about penampang selalu banjir. What happened to penampang? That's something that you need to know. Apa yang menyebabkan penampang mudah naik banjir, for example. Okay, so that is under the N you need to know. And we come up with the third letter, which is L. That's we call it learning issue. Okay, learning issue. Kita ada what you know, K. What you need to know about what you know, which is N. And from these two, that you come up with the learning issue. This learning issue that basically the one that we need to solve. For example, from your KN and you come up with the L. So your learning issue is basically adalah how to solve sistem perparitan di Penampang. For example, that is your learning issue. Sistem perparitan need to be solved as soon as possible. So since that is your learning issue, there is a problem in the system perparitan di Penampang, then you try to find out the solution to solve this problem. Okay, so that's the thing that we're going to do together once we have the problem. Okay. Alright, so yang ini is okay. Kita tinggalkan saja. I will give some like and also read all of you one by one. And what you need to do also, please guys, help your friend by commenting their response, especially to guess the lie. Ramai lagi yang dia respon tu. Saya satu orang dia respon di situ. Okay. So next, step in solving engineering problem. Okay, hari ini saya banyak bagi lecture sikit. Besok, you all semua yang buat kerja. Saya boleh diam-diam. Okay. If you look at this, tadi kita sudah tengok how to define the problem, how to analyze the problem using the K&L table. So once you already satisfying, analyze, understand the problem, then you need to find a solution for that. Of course, your solution is not only one. Okay, this is not MCQ problem, multi question, multi answer, multi question, multi choice, multiple choice question, yang mana you have the exact solution. Kalau A lah tu, kalau B B, but this is an open ended. Okay, although you are first year student, but you need to also get familiar with the solving the real world problem, real industrial problem. So of course there will be a lot of solution alternative that come across is from in your mind, but not come across in your mind. It's basically come across when you do some discussion with your friends. Okay, so lepas you tadi analyze the problem, then you may think about the alternative, the solution alternative for this. So let's say you have several alternative solutions. So how that you want to choose the right one, the best solution. So there is several suggestions here that you may follow, or if you find something else out there related to these steps in solving engineering problem, also okay. You may follow that thing as long as you put some reference. Tidak ada masalah. It's not just you need to follow these steps given here. You can come up with your own step, or perhaps you can create your own step solution. It's okay. Look at this Lauren Peter. Some problems are so complex that you have to be highly intelligent and well informed just to be undecided about them. Highly intelligent, so not really that you need to have a multiple intelligence. Okay, in your team you may have a 4, maximum 5 members. So some of you may have a different kind of skills, different kind of level of intelligence. So you may take advantage of this. Okay, and the most important is the problem should be well informed, well analyzed. So this is the skills that basically you need to develop in your during your 4 years study here. So you are very lucky you started in the first year. We introduced you this kind of problem solving. Okay, so this is the suggested steps in solving well-defined engineering process problem. Okay, yang googling activity for those yang belum lagi submit, please you can do now or you can do later, but make sure that you have respond on that. Okay, step in solving well-defined engineering process problem. So the first is draw the diagram. If the problem is not given you the diagram, so diagram can be any diagram. It can be a block diagram, okay, kotak, but there has some flow on that. Okay. Or kalau tiada, usually we will provide you with the process flow diagram that is usually that is from the real industry. Yeah, basically that is the minimum that we can give you, the process flow diagram. Kalau tiada, then we just give you a block diagram. Okay. Kalau tiada pun, if it's not given any kind of diagram, then the first thing first that you need to do is you draw the block, the diagram. Okay. Representing the process. Problem, usually the problem is a process. So you need to draw a diagram representing the process. Then what you need to do is next is write all the known quantities or variables. Identify what kind of variable available there. But first thing is you need to find the known, the given variable with the value. So remember, variable in chemical engineering, variable kita cuma ada 4 dalam chemical engineering that we call it variables, which is something that changing with time. So what is those 4? Take note. The first variable is flow rate. In chemical engineering, in chemical plant, the flow rate always changing, always dynamic. So that's what we call it variable. F. Then we have T, temperature. Temperature also always changing. That's why we call it variable. FT, P. The third one is pressure. Pressure also always varies. It's not constant at the atmospheric condition. The surrounding, yes, but inside the plant, the pressure is changing. But it is our purpose to keep it constant by controlling it. Itu sudah masuk subject lain, which is process control. And the last one that we call it variable is composition. Okay, FTPX. Remember? This is, we call it variable, FTPX. Composition. Also, composition always changing with time. Then how about the rest? How about density? Density is parameter. We don't call it variable. We call it parameter. For example, your mass. Okay? berat mass. Mass is always constant. Kalau hari ini berat kamu adalah 80 kilogram, besok pun mungkin maintain 80, mungkin naik sikit, tapi it constant. Sejam, 2 jam, with respect to time, dalam masa sejam, 2 jam ni, maintain lagi 80 kilogram. Itu bukan berat kamu, itu berat saya. Okay, so maintain it at 80 kilogram, for example. Okay, that's why we don't call it parameter, a variable, we call it parameter because it's constant. Density, what else? Heat capacity, CP. All those heat of vaporization, all those are constant. Unless stated that it is a variable. It's changing with certain, but it can be a variable if it is function of variable yang 4 tadi. For example, you have a molar volumetric of this component is a function of temperature and pressure. So that's become a variable. Molar volume become a variable because it's a function of these two temperature and pressure variables. Okay, so density ataupun parameter become a variable if it's a function of variables. Okay, so you need to write down all the non-quantities in the appropriate location of the diagram. Di mana? Kalau you ada banyak diagram, for example, you have a first block to the first stream into the block. Apa yang ada situ? Ada pressure, ada temperature, for example. And flow out of the first block, ada temperature, pressure, flow dengan composition. You write it down, all those variable there. The unknown is okay. If symbols are used to design it, non-quantities, include those symbols in the diagram. Kalau tiada pun, then you need to use your own symbol. Okay, kalau dibagi, yes, you just copy it. Okay, that is number 2. The step number 3, identify and assign symbols for all unknown quantities or unknown variables. Okay. Tadi, identify the non-variables. The third step is identify the unknown. Dan letak dia di mana, location dia. Okay. And then the fourth, select a basis if needed. Okay. Now this is very important. For example, if it's not given, then you need to put a value, a logical value, logical case. For example, you put it that is a basis 100 pound-mole per hour. Okay, or 1,000 mole per second, for example. You just put some basis there. Jangan pula letak 1,000 metric ton per hour. That is not logic because that is a very big basis. Okay. Then, once you put all those bases, you already identify the known variables and the unknown variable, then baru you come up with the find out either there is an appropriate equation required. Selalunya information ini akan dibagi, akan diberi. For example, if your process is about reactor, then we will give you some, at least, information about reaction rate ataupun reaction equation, and also some information related to the reaction. For example, the combustion. Okay, that should be given. Otherwise, that you need to find it from the literature, from the Google, for example. Okay. So in order for you to solve that, make sure that the number of equations is equal to the number of unknown. This is what we call it degree of freedom. Okay, degree of freedom. So let's go. Okay. Saya cuma bercakap sampai sejam ni, lepas ni, then we do exercises. Number 5, determine the appropriate set of equation. So this is the one that we just mentioned it. In order for you to solve it, usually we will provide this kind of information. So in order to solve for all of these unknown, number of equation must equal the number of unknown. So this is how that you can use in order for you to obtain the desired set of equation. Construct the material balance. I know that you are not taking this course yet, maybe next semester. But don't worry, in this case that we will help you. Discard term that equal to 0, replace remaining term in the more convenient form. Okay, you may read that. Construct equation that express the other relationship between variable. And next is you solve algebraically and then numerically. Okay. And where basically Matlab comes in, the last step. Okay, solve algebraically. When we're talking about algebra, then that's basically Matlab punya kerja. No need for you to solve it manually. I know that you have already covered here this in your in the calculus subjects, but yeah, manual. But in our course here, that we need to solve that manual, or you need to replace your manual solution into a programming solution such that you can solve several or lots of big number of algebraic equation simultaneously. That is the purpose of doing the programming. Okay, you solve algebraically for the desired parameter, and then you solve it numerically by finding the value. Okay, algebraically is in order for you to transform all those equations into something that you can solve it algebraically. That is, we call it algebraically, and then numerically, where you find out the value. Numerical. That's why we call it numerical. Find the value. The solution is find the value. Sometimes you may come up with the several. You may come up with a several number of solution. Then you need to select the suitable, the right, and the logic one. Okay, rasanya dalam punya basic exercise tu ada certain question asking you. The solution give you several solution with the imaginary number. So you need to find which one is your solution. Okay, so we have just go through these 6 steps. Okay, this is the one that I recommended for you. So you can also use another step provided available down there for you to use. But this is the one that I think is in your level, first semester, first first year students. I think that is not really complicated for you to understand it. You can use it directly, and after that, you can. Kenapa Korea keluar nih? Kau pergi tamu ke? Oh, hari ni hari 3. Hari tamu di Kuala Penyu hari 2 kan? Okay, so that's why this is we call it engineering, problem solving, and programming. Give you a problem, especially chemical engineering problem. You try to solve it by using several steps suggested here, and after that, find the value, find the solution. Okay, and finding the solution or solving it numerically require you to have a programming knowledge. And that's the one that we will highlight it in this class. So we will start that tomorrow, 2 hours tomorrow. Okay, after we form a team for you, and then after that, they will have also several team activities that you need to do. And once you have done with that team activity, then we will look at the first team assignment. Okay. All right, now it's 9 already. So take 5. Saya pun mau kering leher gini, belum breakfast lagi. So take 5 and we continue 905. Okay guys, take 5 ya. Okay guys, we continue. Ada siapa yang ada masalah untuk ni tak? Scan attendance? Kita cuma ada 41 yang sekarang ni. Tapi yang ada dalam ni ada 40. Oh, Fatin ni kan. Fatin ada masalah untuk access Google Meet. Alright. Okay, we continue with our open learning. So we go for the variables, process variables. So what you need to do is, in this case, there is several activities down there. Those who are not finished ataupun complete this activity, please, you can do so. So this is a list of few of a symbol and definition that we will use in this course. So remember that this is important in the first step. Remember kita ada 6 step tadi. So the first step is you draw a diagram if it's not given. So once you draw the diagram, make sure that you put several variables, non-variable together with the unit. If a given is a mass, then you put the unit there. It's a mass. Kalau it's number of moles, then you put the unit moles. With the volume, also you need to put the volume together with the unit. Okay. So there is also a dynamic variable, for example, quantity per unit time. That's why we call it dynamic. There is a dot at that symbols. So there is something over time. So remember that you can make a short, this is what we call it, a common representation of a dynamic quantity per unit time. So you need to have an overdot at that symbol. So there is also a definition, it's a mass flow rate, it's a M with one overdot. It's a mass of a material that passes a reference plane with the unit time interval. We also have a molar flow rate and also volumetric flow rate. Right, so in chemical engineering, we don't have any single unit. We call it derive or derivation of unit. For example, we have density. For example, density is not a single unit. Okay, so it's a combination. It's a derivation of several units together and representing that density, for example. Okay, vapor pressure, heat capacity, heat duty, for example, that is not a single unit. So it's basically a combination of several variables together. Either you multiply it or you divide it, and that combination or that derivation representing another variable, another together with their unit. Right. So there is a composition of a mass there of component A, the XA, the YA there, and you can do some simple exercise now. For example, I'll give you some example of this first. So since it's a mass over mass, so you don't have, it's a unitless variable. There is a mass over time also there. So there is also here that you have a volumetric moles. So the activity is we have this kind of two expression. So what you need to do is for this both expression, you write the unit. Okay, you can look at the example that given above or given before. If you have a density, the unit is a mass over volume, and you have a volumetric flow rate, it's a volume over time, then you can have a mass flow rate, which is mass over time. That is example of the mass flow rate representation. So you have these two, then you can do it now for those who are not give the answer yet. Ramai juga yang sudah hantar ni. Okay. So it's a mass. The first question is a mass over time. So it's a mass over time. Is it mass over time? Let's look back. So mass over time of component A. You're not showing, guys, you're not showing the semua bagi final equation je ni, final unit saja. You all tertunjuk pun how you obtain that. Okay. Moles over time, yeah, that is the final. But before you get that, moles over time, so you need to have something that individual unit, and then after that you simplify it. For example, something like this. Okay, the mass, volumetric mass, mass flow rate, for example, is the density times the volumetric time, volumetric flow rate, for example. Then after that, some of the unit can be cancelled out, some of the variable can be cancelled out. Okay. So something that you need to bear in mind that in finding the solution, okay, in solving chemical engineering problem or engineering problem, we are not looking at your final answer only. Okay? This is not like, for example, your punya SPM punya soalan. Okay? As long as you have the final solution, that's basically your answer. No. Show us how you come up with it. Okay? Cara you all bagi apa nak sampaikan, nak cari jawapan tu pun ada markah. It's not only looking at the final question, at the final answer. Okay? Because that's the most important. Okay? That's the most important. Imagine that in your final exam, okay, if we only assess you, if you only give you mark on your final answer, but not looking at your solution, okay, how you come up with that answer, then kalau your friend sebelah tu, kalau lah face to face exam, imagine that this is a face to face exam, dia tengok kau punya soalan, dia jawapan tu, then dia dapat markah bulat-bulat macam tu saja. That's why it is important for us to assess your solution, your derivation, your step by step. It's not only the final answer. Okay? So on this exercise, so I would like you, those who just give the final answer, for example, is moles over time. Yeah, that is the right answer. But how that you come up with the mole over time, with the mass over time? So please do some correction and just put the show. Okay, this your solution is how you come up. So the derivation of your solution. Okay, that is most important. Imagine that. Okay, there is a trick. So, that's why it's better for me to give you the trick now. To inform you the trick supaya nanti bila dalam test, dalam assignment ataupun dalam you punya final, you all tak confused. Usually we are not giving you one set of equation. Dalam final, dalam test, kita hendakkan bagi kamu satu soalan yang sama untuk semua orang. Okay? That's why the revision of the solution is important. Okay? Kau tengok jawapan kawan kamu, tengok padahal soalan kau soalan lain. So that's why it is your own. That's why usually we come up with several. Sometimes kita ada 5-6 set of different question given to you. So soalan satu, for example, mungkin ada 5 set of question. Soalan 2 ada 5 set of question. Then we what they call it, bila kita what that call, it's not a puzzle. Bila kita campur-campur nanti, bila kita susun balik, then you will have 10 5 kali 5, you may have 25 sets of different questions. So janganlah mau tiru-tiru your friends. Basically, you need to do by yourself. That's why, okay, the solution, how you come up with that is very important, not only looking at the final answer. Okay? Right, clear? So that's why, so please give a comment for the right one after this. Because most of you give the final unit. So has time. Okay. Yep. Okay, I would like all of you to revise all of your answers and show how you derive and how you come up with that answer. Something like this, for example. It's very simple. You know that volume, you know the density is a mass over volume, and you know the volume, the unit is the volume, then you can cancel out, then it becomes mass. Okay, that's another example. Okay. So we cover this, then we need to do these basic Matlab exercises. So for this Matlab exercises, it requires you to upload your 100% screenshot of your Matlab training. Okay, ada yang sudah upload, ramai lagi yang belum upload. Dalam smart, dalam e-learning, maksudnya about 20 something yang sudah siap, sudah upload, but you need to also upload here. Okay, you also need to upload it over here. Alright, so this is just a very simple exercises which I don't think that I need to comment on this ataupun discuss on this. Ramai juga yang belum upload ni gambar. Oh, I know the problem. Yes, because you cannot use this since you cannot use the online. Okay, the online Matlab. So the solution is for this is either you want to install it, the Matlab, in your laptop or in your PC. Okay, don't worry. is I will give you 1 week to settle this. Azim, last week you tanya kan about installing
Yeah,
Matlab in your laptop, right?
uh,
Have you done that?
after you said it's about 200 GB, so I
Besar tak?
think it's too large. Yeah.
Too big, yeah. But is this since you cannot use the online one, then I think it is compulsory for you to install it. So, Azim, I give this under your responsibility to help your friend installing it. Boleh?
Oh,
Boleh?
okay.
Kau
Okay.
di KK kan?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you masih lagi di Kelantan. Your family already here. Atau panjang kita sudah tiga orang kan. Alright. So find out the solution that you find out the way to help your friend in installing it. Alright. Ray, mana kau Ray? Masih pergi tamu ke? Atau serius dah keluar ke? Okay, make sure everybody have installed the Matlab in your laptop, in your individual, in all of you. Then we can baru kita boleh continue, okay, doing all of these exercises. Okay. So we cannot continue this one since not there is nobody respond this. So I think that's all for our discussion today. So we can continue this until there is no response. There is no answer here. All right. So if there is any question that you need to ask before kita tamatkan kelas kita hari ini. Alright, take home list, to-do list. So first is those yang belum siap lagi, so make it your siapkan the tutorial, upload all those evidence, and then the second list is install the Matlab. If you still have a big space in your laptop, that is recommended for you to install it. And then there is things, a few of you, 3 or 4 yang masih lagi belum submit your personal information form because I need to create your team now because we will start the team activity tomorrow. Okay, so there is three things that all of you need to be settled as soon as possible. Okay, question? Ada sebelum kita stop? 9:30 kita stop.
Doctor,
Ya,
how
Zim.
about for those yang laptop dia storage tidak cukup?
That's why the solution is we need to use the online Matlab, but since you are having a problem in what we call it in subscription, then we need to think about it. We need to think about it later. I need to stop present this one. Okay. Is there other questions?
Sir,
Yeah.